Okay, I need you to brace yourselves here, because we're going to talk about Mass Effect 3 again. I realize that for the most part, Mass Effect 3 has been old hat since March 6th of this year when they released their final DLC, the Citadel, but I actually just finished playing Borderlands 2 and was reminded of Mass Effect 3. In particular, Mass Effect 3's ending and the backlash that spread around the internet like wildfire because of it. But before we start talking about Mass, we'll go ahead and turn the Wayback Machine back to, I don't know, pretty much any time before Mass Effect 3 ever. World building in video games has never been a particularly strong suit, which is one of the reasons why I was hugely stunned by the reaction that the internet came up with concerning Mass Effect 3's ending. Go and look at video games from the 80s, even from the 90s, with the exception of a few titles. No one was really concerned with the way that their video games ended, and they were only vaguely concerned with the way that they started. Some of the classic video games, Bad Dudes, Contra, there are two that are just notorious. Battletoads, notorious for bad endings. Congratulations, you've rescued the president. Let's go get a cheeseburger. That's the kind of grand opera that we're talking about here. Unto this crucible, Mass Effect 3, and this has been much ballyhooed about, so I won't waste a whole lot of time. But while the ending for Mass 3 wasn't as hugely storied as the rest of it was, I think people sometimes lose sight of the fact that there were 3 games spanning some 120 hours worth of gameplay before you finally got to an ending that really wasn't horrible. It wasn't as all-conclusive as everybody would have liked, and no, you didn't get to see Liara Tassoni's little blue babies that some folks wanted Shepard and her to have. But really, it wasn't horrible, and after the backlash, BioWare immediately followed up with suitable compensation, in my opinion, in the form of a longer ending and a great swan song DLC in the form of Citadel, albeit a year later. But their initial follow-up, their initial reparations for what was perceived to be a bad ending, happened relatively quickly and was relatively sufficient. Which is why I was so confused about the way that Borderlands 2 ended. Now, I'm going to go ahead and preface the rest of what I'm about to say here with I have not played Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. I am told that it is every bit the swan song for Borderlands 2 that Mass Effect 3's Citadel DLC was. I haven't played it yet. I acknowledge that I haven't played it yet. Yes, I swear to God, Christy, we're going to play the DLC. But the regular ending for the game was, I don't know about bad, but hugely mediocre. And you didn't hear a peep about it on the internet. Spoiler alert here. You end up finding the vault, and you end up finding Jack, and you end up killing the warrior. And yes, while either you or Lilith offing Jack in whatever spectacular fashion that you choose was immensely, massively gratifying, that was pretty much where the game ended. Lilith gets ready to destroy the key and goes, oh, there are a bunch of other vaults in a bunch of other places. No rest for the wicked. Literally, I shit you not, that was the quote. And then that's the way the game ends. Now, if you wade through the credits and you go back into Sanctuary and all the way back up into Roland's old quarters, you'll find Brick and Mordecai and Lilith up on their little patio there having a conversation about how they want to handle all this. And there's some entirely unremarkable dialogue, but that's the way the Borderlands 2 ends. You didn't get any kind of reparation for that until, 9 months later was when you finally got Tiny Tina's. And again, while I'm told that it's absolutely a fantastic way to send the game out, the reactions between these two games absolutely floor me. Mass Effect 3, the Mass Effect games were always planned to be a trilogy. Everybody knew when they began and when they ended. The original Borderlands is famous for having an absolutely crap ending, Not just because it was a crap ending, but because at the time they hadn't planned to make a Borderlands 2 yet. They didn't know what they were going to do about the game. It turns out Borderlands was a resounding success, and they made Borderlands 2. But the world building in Borderlands 2 that they spent so much time on was completely and totally betrayed by the ending of that game. It just stuns me that there was no follow-up on that. After everything that happened with Mass Effect 3, after all the scrambling that EA and BioWare did to provide a better ending to fans, that just absolutely stuns me. And I suppose I shouldn't be surprised anymore about the inconsistency with which the internet as a whole reacts to things, but there it is. Undoubtedly, one of you will ask what my definition of a good video game ending is. I will point you to 1994's Squaresoft release of Final Fantasy III, labeled as Final Fantasy VI over here in the United States. 25 minutes worth of wonderful, heartfelt, all-inclusive, closure-bringing ending. Now, if you can do that on a 16-bit Super Nintendo cartridge with a little bit of forethought, you should be able to do at least that much on these huge, massive $60 AAA titles that are being shipped on multiple DVDs. There's just no excuse. Yeah, there's really no excuse. That's all I've got.